for coming to the 2022 Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame induction ceremony and reception. All right, please welcome Barry Beckton of Diageo, a member of the 2016 class of the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame and Senior Director of Federal Affairs and Whiskey States for Diageo, to introduce our first industry award recipient, Andrea Marie Wilson, Chief Operating Officer and Master of Maturation at Victor's Distillery.
Good morning, everyone. It is such a privilege to address an esteemed group of bourbon industry icons. I can't believe I'm sitting on the same row with titans of this industry. It's also great to be in the company of so many wonderful public officials. Governor Beshear, thank you for your address. Rocky Atkins, Chairman Yarmouth, boy, thanks for everything you've done for this industry. We are certainly going to miss you. I think Senator Jimmy Higdon may be here somewhere. I haven't had a chance to say hello. There he is. Thanks for all the work that you do to support us as well. And welcome all friends and family members of the honorees. I know this is a special day and it's an exciting time to be a part of this industry. But most importantly, it's a tremendous honor. I'm not going to look at you because I'm going to cry. It's a tremendous honor to introduce my friend, former colleague, and longtime collaborator on all things KDA, Andrea Wilson. It's not that fast of an introduction. From an early age, Andrea, likely spurred on by her grandfather's tales of moonshining, showed a genuine interest and fascination with the bourbon and distilling industries. Something she formalized through her studies at the University of Louisville, where she earned both a bachelor's and master's degree in chemical engineering, which means she's way smarter than I am. Fortunately for me, as well as many others, Andrea has always been more than willing to mentor and share her knowledge in an effort to work towards the greater good for this industry. When I first took on government relations responsibilities in Kentucky, I was a bit of a neophyte when it came to distilling issues. But it didn't take me long to realize that I needed to hitch my ride to Andrea. There was no one at Diageo more committed, harder working, or more respected when it came to the vision for what our bourbon business could and should be. Andrea presided over the early growth of Bulleit Bourbon and helped plan and ultimately secure support and approval for the Bulleit Distillery in Shelbyville. Andrea's name is etched in a cornerstone at that distillery in Shelby County, a testament to her commitment and hard work in growing the brand and Diageo's distilling interest and capabilities in Kentucky. Andrea was also instrumental in the redesign of the historic Stitzelweller Distillery, and her efforts eventually led to it being added to the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. But not one to rest on her laurels, Andrea took on a new opportunity with Michter's in 2014. And Diageo's loss was certainly Michter's gain. Andrea took on many responsibilities at the company, including a key role in establishing Michter's Fort Nelson Distillery, because who can be satisfied just building one distillery in your career? Andrea has since taken on the role of Master of Maturation, and in her downtime serves as Michter's Chief Operating Officer. One thing that hasn't changed is her commitment to teaching others. Andrea serves as a mentor to many employees, inspiring others to emulate her habits and strive for her success. She always makes those around her better, but she doesn't try to take credit, preferring everyone to be all in it together. In an industry that has long been dominated by men, Andrea shattered the glass ceiling in 2009, becoming the first female chair of the Kentucky Distillers Association. And while I know firsthand it wasn't always easy, there was never a chip on her shoulder. She led with grace, dignity, collaboration, and a commitment to do things the right way. She helped pave the way for more female leaders, including Pauline Rooney and Jessica Pendergrass, who have both since served as chair of the Kentucky Distillers Association. And all three of them, thankfully, still serve on KDA's board. I was fortunate to serve as the chair of KDA's Government Affairs Committee during Andrea's tenure as chairwoman. There were many challenges facing the KDA as well as the industry. She led KDA through this transitional time with leadership focused on building a new strategic plan for KDA. During this first strategic review came a renewed focus on growing membership, expanding the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, and establishing a plan to educate elected officials, to work with them in new and collaborative ways. And the initiatives that we pursued and eventually passed helped set up a string of victories that have modernized this industry, igniting unprecedented growth, driving record tourism, and ultimately leading to the bourbon industry being able to lay claim to its rightful place as the signature industry of Kentucky. Andrea is dedicated to KDA's mission and has worked tirelessly to help achieve it. If there's a more worthy honoree of this Hall of Fame, well, I haven't met them yet. And so it is my immense pleasure to welcome Andrea Wilson to the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame, class of 2022. Congratulations on an honor well deserved.
So Barry, thank you so much for such a wonderful intro. It's a tremendous honor to be inducted into the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame. Such an amazing and inspiring group of people being inducted today for their accomplishments. I sat here and I listened to the governor tell the story of the journey that we've been on in Kentucky Bourbon, and it's hard for me to believe what's happening. I grew up in this industry. I love it very much, but I can honestly remember the days when, and some of you may have heard me tell this story, when I would go into, a steakhouse somewhere and I'd be like, oh look, there's one bottle of Kentucky bourbon, amazing, and I would be so thrilled to see it there. But I had friends, who went out of state to other universities and no Kentucky bourbon even present in those states. And so it's amazing to see what's happened. Now you have Michelin star chefs using Kentucky bourbon. You have great mixologists all over the world making fantastic cocktails. You have, just so many bourbon communities celebrating the spirit and something in common that everybody enjoys, this beautiful brown amber liquid. And you can even find it in your soaps and shampoos now, and in your bourbon barrel furniture. So it's everywhere. And I think about what the governor said about it being America's native spirit. It was named that in 1964 by our Congress, but I think it's only now that it's really penetrated the fabric of America and really represents what we all wanted it to be so long ago. Now I think back, on my days when I joined the Kentucky Distillers Association in 2005 was my first meeting, and I was the only woman to come into that room. And I have to be honest, it was a little intimidating. You have all of these industry icons sitting around talking about the industry, and then I walk in, and but I just said, you know what, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to represent this industry, and I'm going to be a part of it, and I'm very thankful that I did. I can remember in 2009 when I was elected the first woman to chair the Kentucky Distillers Association. We were sitting in a room discussing the future of the KDA and developing a roadmap for ensuring Kentucky bourbon's success. The to-do list was quite long, and 3M was making a lot of money off of all of our little sticky notes that we were pasting everywhere about all the things that we needed to do. But there were many things: building institutional knowledge across the state, increasing the knowledge within our own communities, changing the image of Kentucky bourbon from sin to signature, expanding the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, and on the list went. Many of us have dedicated our lives to this industry. It is what we do, it's our passion, and I'm incredibly grateful to be recognized for the contributions that I've made in my career. I want to say a special thanks to the KDA, which has completely transformed from only one part-time president, Mr. Hamilton is here today, and to now having Eric at the helm and the whole staff to help champion the industry. It's a very different time. Although there are many in the industry who have helped to shape and mold me, I want to recognize the journey of my life. This is the part where it might get a little emotional. and my husband, my family, my friends, and all those who've been here to support me and provide me the highest level of understanding of my sacrifices in doing what I believe will impact the next generation coming up in Kentucky bourbon. I would be remiss if I didn't mention my grandfather, who sparked my curiosity and inspired me to pursue Kentucky bourbon. I also want to mention my dad, who instilled in me the discipline to pursue education and my dream. As I approached my time for college, there were not course curriculums like there are today, sharing the fundamentals of Kentucky bourbon like there are so many of now. Instead, I chose the closest thing to that curriculum, which was chemical engineering. I remember my dad and I discussing it and his raising concerns about the career path based on it being a limited field for women, but I wanted to follow my dream and I was willing to push. I worked hard, I pushed hard, ultimately was only one of just a few women who graduated with their master's in chemical engineering. As a woman, I'm proud of my contributions and thankful to all those women and men who have helped to shape me. Of course, my mother, who instilled in me the no fear attitude. My grandma, who was the first woman to get a beautician's license in Louisville. My grandmother, who taught me the strength of relationships that last a lifetime. My aunts and my dear uncles, who always helped me with whatever I needed. My dear friend, Frenchie Sweat, who taught me so much about this industry. Pam Heilman, Peggy No Stevens, Susan Riegler, Lois Matus, and other bourbon women. My best friends, and of course my brothers, who have been there through thick and thin. I'm grateful to all of the writers who've taken the time to share my story, knowledge, help consumers engage across bourbon communities all over the world. Now I want to share special thanks to the Malioco family and the whole Michter's team, who have given me a tremendously rewarding experience at Michter's and afforded me the opportunity to lead such a talented group of individuals to realize their full potential. But more than that, giving me the chance to be a senior leader in an organization as a woman, to allow other young women to see someone like them in this role. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm incredibly dedicated to creating the next generation of amazingly talented young women and men. I will be forever grateful to the impact that you've had on me and the next generation of Kentucky bourbon makers. Lastly, I want to finish by answering a question I was asked. Someone asked, why is Kentucky bourbon so special to me? Sure, the color's beautiful, the aroma is enchanting, and the taste is something to savor, but it's way more than that. For me, it's when I realize for each bottle of Kentucky bourbon sold, every single one, there are many, many memorable moments that will come from it. It's that moment when someone says they're buying a bottle of Michter's for my son when he turns 21, or for that special wedding anniversary, or to celebrate a father's legacy of life. It's in fact that we have the privilege to create something so special, to be a part of those special, precious moments of everyone's life. So cheers to all. Thank you very much for this wonderful honor. And let's celebrate.
Today we will sing one song for my old Kentucky home. Kentucky home paradise.